They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Hello out there, thanks for joining us on Political Platform, and it's a midweek edition. Thanks so much for all your time, and those who have been writing to us, sharing their views, your own opinion on the sundry political developments in Nigeria. We want to appreciate you. Thank you so much, and it serves to show that we are all collectively having a stake in this beautiful land called Nigeria. It is how to move forward from the challenges that we have that is of paramount importance to us, and all hands should also be on the deck to find out how we can indeed begin to move forward with the intention to surmount all the problems that we have. We have the President addressing the United Nations yesterday and speaking about peace and dialogue, and urging the international community to take more interest in resolving some of the conflicts in the African continent, and helping out the nations who are backed in terrorism, and doing more with more funding to assist us, and have a sustainable platform that can endure at times. It's not a matter of the knee-jerk approach that we have. We donate money, we just quickly bring in money, but something that is sustainable. That is the President's emphasis. He also preached peace and urged the United Nations to take more interest in conflict areas and make suggestions on how we can indeed, as a global community, resolve some of the issues through dialogue and peaceful approach to the issues. And so many Nigerians are clapping for the President. But as they clap for him, they're asking him to come home with those ideas of how to solve the immediate one that is with us now, the Boko Haram, the Boko Haram that is, and we still have how many of our guests we have not seen yet, and it does appear that Nigerians appear to be forgetting that we have young guests taken from Chibok who have not been seen. But more importantly, we also are asking the President to come back home with those laudable ideas in resolving this immediate one, the IPOP issues that is taking Nigeria to almost its brink, with so many people losing faith in the process that is adopted by the military to solve the problem. Mokiri Agbonsoremi is my name, and I have Ijoma Osamo on the platform this morning. Ijoma, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Okiria. I would like to comment on the President's speech yesterday at the 72nd UN Assembly. I still think that we should anyhow encourage our President, but from what he said yesterday, I was expecting something more than his statement yesterday. He still took the fighting corruption and also the terrorism to the assembly. Yeah. Yes, but what surprised most people is the fact that the President concentrated more on international conflicts when we have problems right here at home.
Well, the President needed to be broad-minded. He needed to. He didn't need to go and localize the problem. Yes, we can mention some of the things, and the President was like an African statesman who was looking at the larger picture of Africa and how the crisis in one country, like the one that happened in Libya, is affecting all the other countries in this sub-region with guns and proliferation of arms, ammunition, all of. I think the President was being an African statesman who wants solutions that will not just benefit Nigeria but the general population. But the idea is what is to be commended. The idea of asking the world to follow peace with all men as prescribed by the Bible. Follow peace with all men, so that there will be peace everywhere. That is where we have it. Amici and Chris also here on the program. Amici, welcome.
Thank you, Hira. The President's address was in fact soothing, statesmanly, I must say. The President spoke after the US President Donald Trump rendered his own speech. Actually, our President was the 8th to speak. I'm still trying to find out indeed the reasons why we elevated so high. even before the presidents of Israel and France. So it's a good one there for Nigeria. And the president's approach was entirely different from the approach Donald Trump brought forward, threatening to destroy completely North Korea if they continue to go ahead with their weapons, nuclear weapons system. And I just said, wow, this is something new, something fresh. The president asking the United Nations to get people from across the world, to move into North Korea for dialogue, for negotiations with the North Korean leader. And my mind quickly went back to what is happening in the East, where so many people, including we here on platform, have been asking the president to employ dialogue. That dialogue may fetch far better dividends in resolving conflicts than the use of force. But the president wants, from what we have seen, what the military has been doing, to use force to settle local issues, but we prefer dialogue on international issues.
Well, there are a lot of, there are so many ways to take a look at it. When the militants were coming to Abuja to have a handshake with the late President Yar'Adua, so many people criticized. The Tompolos of this world, the Asari Dokubos, all of them were coming. But the President Yar'Adua, of blessed memory, had an aim. He had an objective. He was looking at the ball. He knew exactly what he wanted and he got it.
Yes.
And Nigerians say, we didn't know that this was it was like going down to a level with a child. When you bend down to attend to a little child, down. You don't want to stay up there and be talking down on the child. You squat, you come down to the child's level, and the child relates with you, eyeball to eyeball at his level, and you are able to see the whole thing. That was what President Yar'Adua did. And that's exactly what is also required here. It is not a matter of demeaning or reducing yourself. I've said it on this program before that the Benin's have a saying that two individuals, two sets of people deserve respect and honor from society. A man who is hefty, who can beat you up and slap you, but if you slap him, he will not respond. He will calm down and attend to you. And then the second one is a beautiful woman, most beautiful woman, wanted and needed by everybody, but keeps her dignity and will not run around following men all over the place. Now, the third one I want to add is a leader who has all the strength and all the power to muzzle everywhere, everybody, and use all his strength, but he comes down, just like what Yar'Adua did, and come down, get what the larger society will want to have. And that is the peace we are talking about. Everybody, we have all condemned what the military, probably the steps they have taken. They themselves are recounting, they are saying, okay, it's a step that probably they didn't measure well, by their own admission, that the government should now take the appropriate decisions to make a pronouncement. And we also hear, like Adebayo Bodun told us the other time, that there's a resolution awaiting the president, either a proclamation or whatever it is, or it's a shopping. The Ohaneze Edigbo said that the president's team, the president's men are shopping, the federal government is they are shopping for a court order to make a declaration of the IPOB as a terrorist organization. I think we should be circumspective, taking a look at the larger implication of telling the entire world that we have another terrorist group in Nigeria. We have one that we are dealing with, that we have another one that germinated in the southeast. By ourselves, we just clone up one and tell the whole world that we have one problem here again. Everybody. And
yet, on the other hand, we appeal to international investors to come and invest their hard-earned dollars in Nigeria, where you have two ferocious terrorist organizations. No sane investor will want to do that. There are other countries, neighboring countries, that don't even have one terrorist organization, but yet these are people we are competing for the same investors. There's what you call maximum rulers. If you're head of your house, you know you're the head of the house, you're the man of the house, you have all the powers around, you can, like you mentioned, use it to the fullest. But some people will say, it is like the fact that I have this power, I don't want to employ it fully, because the dangers in fully utilizing your powers is that those that will resist you will also do it to the last drop of their blood, and it breeds conflict and instability, which we do no one any good. Those in power should learn how to know how to stoop to conquer. You mentioned the former President Umaru Yar'Adua. He came under immense pressure from some conservative elements while he was in power, not to employ dialogue in resolving the Niger Delta question. They describe him as a weakling, as this, as that. How can he allow a group to challenge the state?
They even came into the presidential villa.
They threatened him. There was nothing they didn't do, according to his spokesperson then, Sheikh Wadehi. But the man insisted. He put his feet down. He said, we are going to do this differently. And he did it differently and achieved results. Of course, the way the former President Obasanjo also handled the issue of Sharia, he had all the powers in the world to move in and clamp it down, because as it were directly, it's a violation of our constitution because we were a secular state. But he said, let's allow them. If it is a political Sharia, it will wither away. But if it is a real Sharia, it will indeed bear fruit. So we can evaluate the situation today and see for ourselves.
Okay, I think we allowed Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB to get to the level they are today. I remember at the early stage of this whole issue, we kept saying on this platform, just let this matter die a natural death. If the federal government had let this man to be a nobody, he wouldn't have become a monster that he is now. Sorry, I have to.
There are so many ways to
kill a dog. You can draw him.
There are so many ways to look at it. Their opinion differ on whether you should allow a man who has made a pronouncement against Nigeria, who says he wants to set Nigeria on fire, who says Nigeria is his ruin, is insulting everybody, including the elders in the southeast, came under his hammer with his insults. There's a school of thought that says you can't wait and just allow them. I think it's the approach we are talking about. He's a defiant, somebody who is off the line, clearly in breach of our laws. It is hard to handle it. We know how people say if you have a rat inside your earthen pot, you want to keep your pot, but you want the rat dead. You have to be very careful how you keep the rat.
That is it.
If you don't, you may just lose your pot and the rat will still run away.
Exactly.
And so you have to be very, very careful how to get the rat dead, and your pot serves. You still use the pot to have your water. So those are some of the things. The government, that's what we are talking about. People sitting down, articulate ideas. Where are our ideas men? Where are they? Where are the statesmen? Where are people who can
apply wisdom
and elevate this discourse to a level? Where are they? I mean, we don't have people who are thinking. The military will just come. They don't consult. They will just say, make a pronouncement, and then they ask everybody to be debating it. We are all in confusion about what is happening, and we are selling ourselves, dancing naked in Eagle Square, in the general glare of the entire world. We are telling everybody what does not even exist in order to score a point. And some persons are clapping and say this right. Some say, look, I think it's just a matter of raising the level of humanity in Nigeria, the level of maturity. And when you hear of underdevelopment, these are the definitions. When you see a country is underdeveloped, it's not in the roads alone, it's not in the infrastructure, but even the mental development. Do we have people who sit down to think? Are we above the benchmark of, have we elevated ourselves to a level where we can actually say we are human beings? The humanity in us, where is it? Those are the questions. Let's take your thoughts. Politicalplatform@yahoo.com. Let's see who is talking to us this morning after this break.
Busted.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Welcome back from the break. It's the mail segment, and I'm Amaka Okoro.
I'm Musati Yari. Welcome.
We begin with President Buhari's speech at the United Nations General Assembly, and it's coming from Austin Nice from Glasgow, Scotland. And it reads, I was so impressed and commended our President's very brief speech at the ongoing UN summit yesterday, as he played a fatherly role when in his wisdom suit for peace and called for dialogue on the very delicate issue of North Korea's nuclear test, even while other more economically developed and advanced nations seems to have been beating drums of war. I enjoin all Nigerians to pray that this newfound wisdom and love for dialogue by our President should accompany him back to the shores of Nigeria on his return, as charity, if they say, begins at home. Thanks.
Moving over to the education sector, Falalu Ahmed in Katsina says the Academic Staff Union of Universities, after a series of agreements with the government, finally decided to suspend the embarked strike for 6 weeks. Many of us expressed our joy that academic activities will continue as usual. However, I'm really afraid our happiness may turn to sorrow, since the body of ASU has already termed the suspended strike as conditional. This means that if the other conditions made by ASU are not met by the government, that a fresh strike may be embarked upon. Permit me to use the medium to call on the authorities saddled with the responsibility of managing the matter concerning Nigerian universities to find a lasting solution that will enable it to end such incessant strikes in our universities once and for all.
And still on Nigeria's education sector, Kunle Rotimi from Ikeja in Lagos State says, permits me to request your platform to support Nigeria's Union of Teachers in appealing to defaulting state governors to pay teachers' salaries. It is unfair to impoverish public school teachers only because the governors have their children in schools abroad. Let all the state governors who have defaulted pay up the teachers in public interest. God bless Nigeria.
Barrister Chukwezugo Ugu in Abuja says the Nigerian army hastily declared IPOB a terrorist organization just to justify their actions in the southeast. John Eneche came to national TV to justify, claiming he's a strategist and an analyst and knows better. Now that everyone, including the international community, is condemning that declaration, they are now denying it. Does that not mean that we have people who do not know what they are doing in the helm of affairs of the military? People who put the cart before the horse. God help Nigeria.
And Chukwezugo Ugu in Abuja writes on the mode of governance in Nigeria. The mail reads, I listened to some persons making suggestions that we need a unicameral legislature, and I laughed. We need a bicameral legislature with reduced members or on part-time basis, going by some of the elected but military mentality presidents we have had. If we have a unicameral system, once the legislators are caged, intimidated or enticed, we are all done for. But it will be difficult to get the two chambers at a go, as we have always witnessed. One will be docile and the other active to checkmate the excesses of the executive, no matter how little.
Reacting to analysis on the platform, Ed Joseph from the UK says, I sincerely thank and appreciate the crew members for once again using the platform, as it has always done, to advocate for peace and calm nerves. Everyone in Nigeria should be reminded that ensuring peace in the country does not rest on only the political leaders, but a collective responsibility for everyone, irrespective of social, political, and cultural affiliations. Therefore, I want to sincerely thank Ohiria for his quick intervention yesterday when Mustafa seemed to have been overwhelmed by sentiments and went off track a bit. Mustafa should be reminded that as a journalist, he's a leader with so many disciples. Hence, whatever he says goes a long way in shaping his followers' opinion. God bless Nigeria.
And that's it on today's mail segment. Keep sending your mails to us through political platform at yahoo.com.
Busted!
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for remaining with us, and we want to thank you so sincerely again for your mails. So many of our those who listen to us and our followers were so angry with Mustafa. Our mails was busting with advice for Mustafa to stay the path of peace rather than stirring inflaming the passion and making it look like it is we against them. Thank you. And Mustafa is getting those mails, is taking them, but we can't take all the mails. We are taking all the advice and putting your thinking cap to tell us exactly what to do. Thank you so much. Where do we really begin? Let's begin from customs. Customs is always one very quiet organization, makes money for the government. Is it not? I think the FIR, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, is one overtaking them now. I wonder if they are at par or one.
No, after the NNPC, the sale of crude oil, you have the Federal Inland Revenue before the customs. So it should be the third highest.
So when you have an organization that the government depends on to bring in money, you understand that so many things can be wrong with it. We described NNPC in the past. There are towers here, the towers of corruption. We have not, nobody has been able to remove that gap from them. Every day when you hear of NNPC, you hear stories. The Federal Inland Service, the
Inland
Revenue Service, is doing its best, but we have also said it has not done much to capture, to extend the net, or to expand the net
the
of
tax base.
Yeah,
they are trying though.
They are doing that
with the
very
new
well.
man from Lagos, he appears to be doing a lot of work.
They are doing that a lot, but if you go there, I have some of my friends who are there. It is consultants that are doing the job. The staff are idle. I say, let us develop institutions that the staff can do their job, and there's a lot to be done with tax collection, and we can expand the base. Yes, use the consultants, but also use the staff. Let the staff not go read newspapers and leave the office. The job is being done by the consultants. The Federal Inland Revenue Service is doing a wonderful job, and the man from Lagos who had this experience in Lagos and bringing it up in Abuja here is doing a lot to expand the tax base and get the more revenue for Nigeria. Get the companies. They even came up with a list of companies that pay categories of staff. You'll be ashamed that with all the big men we have in Nigeria and all the so-called people who fly private jets all over the place, the tax they pay so little. And we need to expand those bases. And we also need, as individuals and companies, organizations, to encourage these tax collectors to do their job so that they can also bring in money. Talking about customs, it's a different ball game altogether. It is what they give out that we get. They are powered, they are paid, they are trained. We have a lot of history behind them, from custom and SIs to all the ones that up to the level that we have now. We must also quickly also say that we commend their effort in being sustaining the tempo of training, getting the staff to know what they do, and they adapting to the international best practices, improving their facilities, all that they do at the ports and everything.
And the seizures of rifles, the third one within 1 year. They did yesterday, you know. Yes. I saw the reports in the newspapers. Yeah,
and but yesterday they came up with the seizure of vehicles in Abuja. About 18 bulletproof vehicles. 12 of them were bulletproof, and exotic cars. Now, these exotic
Rolls Royce, Range Rover,
yeah,
name them.
These exotic cars are
Lincoln
cars
Navigator.
that they are not for the guys living in Ajegule. I mean, or in
not for people living in Ghana.
Now, even those who are living in Asokoro will find it difficult
to own such cars.
to own such cars. They are exotic cars that cost as much as 150 million. Many of them we said are bulletproof, and to make your car bulletproof,